Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of my 3-part series on GIS professionals answering life's toughest questions during COVID-19. Thank you for tuning into Ask Alice Anything, where we explore stories about GIS that the general public can relate to. So let's see how they respond to the same questions. Let's welcome our panelists for today.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining in this video with me. So just to start, this group is GIS folks that don't have any kids. Why don't we go around and introduce yourself with your name, as well as how many years in the industry, and are you living alone or are you living with your parents? What's your living situation? All right, let's start. Yeah, let's start with Paul since you laughed first.
My name is Paul Bagley. I'm the product specialist for location analytics here. Esri 7 years, but in this type of industry for about 18 years. No kids, and I live alone.
Next.
My name's Lakshmi, and I work for the Community Maps team here at Esri Canada. I've been in the industry for 2 years, and I live with my parents.
All right.
Nicole Ferreira. I work in the Ontario region sales team. I'm an inside sales representative. I've been with Esri Canada for 2 years. Prior to that break, I was with Esri Australia, working the mapping, map data services who provide data APAC region. So I'm excited to be here. You guys now.
And you're living.
Oh, geez, yeah, right.
You have kids, cows. What do you got?
Not much else going on. I almost forgot about that. So, yeah.
Last but not least, yes.
Yeah, my name is Yasik. I work for the digital marketing department here in Esri Canada in the Toronto office. I've been with the company for, I'd say, around 3 years now. I started off as an intern, maybe 6 months in, and then I got hired as a full-time position. I currently live with my parents, but we're waiting, me and my girlfriend, we bought a house probably like about 8 months ago, and we're just waiting for it to be built by, it's going to be about 2 years, a year and a half, I'd say.
Nice.
But so I'm just saving money, living with my parents, making it work for now, and then, move out, because it's kind of getting to a point where I don't want to live with my mom anymore.
Yes. So the first question is, during this whole pandemic, COVID-19, what is, you would say, the biggest challenge working from home? Who would like to start? Lakshmi?
The biggest challenge from working at home?
Yeah, biggest challenge, and how are you dealing with it?
I think my biggest challenge is staying active, like leaving my bedroom every once in a while to visit other parts of the house. It's weird. I'm used to taking a break, just walking to the kitchen, seeing some other colleagues and catching up while I fill up my water bottle. But now it's I fill up my water bottle and I say hi to my mom, and then I just come back to my desk. So that's pretty much, I guess, my biggest problem.
And I guess, how are you dealing with that? How are you finding ways to help with that, or not?
Honestly, there's not much you can do in that situation. You just
and move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, what about you?
Well, it's just me here. So my issues are more on the social front, actually. It's probably a bit too lonely. I miss having, I do miss the office at this point. It's been a few months now. I miss being able to walk by some people, all these familiar faces. I see you all now, and just being able to be in proximity with you, chat about what you did on the weekend, what you watched last night, what you're watching now. It's a bit harder when it's all virtual now. I mean, it's still there, but there's a disconnect, we have to admit, in all this. So it's been challenging trying to reconnect with people and keep up with people in that same way. And how I'm working with that is really just being better at initiating that myself. It's not as easy as you're passively walking by people in the office. You go, hey, I remember you. What's going on? We don't have that right now. So it's just making a conscious effort to, how is Paul doing? How's Lakshmi doing? What's she doing right now? What are you doing, Alice?
Not an actual scheduled meeting talk about a particular topic. More just just say hey, nothing.
Yeah.
Just, random hi.
Outside of work and professional chat, just being able to do that, I think is
Yeah.
pretty important.
Yes, like you being a marketing department, I'm sure you're used to, mingle with your marketing folks a lot. How is your biggest challenge?
Basically, I'm on the same alignment with what Nicole said. Is like it's just the social aspects of it. Like, because my part in my job, it tends to be I can work from home digitally, right? I don't really have an issue on the work front. Beyond social aspects, or if I'm trying to communicate with my team, it tends to be a little bit harder because I would just literally turn around and just scream over the desk, or just turn around and ask the iron, and I'll be able to verify that information just like on the spot, right? So that's sort of a difficult aspect. But other than that, I actually enjoy working from home because one, I wake up literally out of bed, I make my coffee, and I get to work, right? I have it pre-set up. There's no need to, go up an elevator or park your car and stuff like that. So other than that, I'd say definitely safe from the social aspect is what I miss the most. But I'll make do with what I have, and I sort of compensate that social aspect at work, after work. And I've been going to like Birchmount Park near my area, and I've just been trying my best just to be active and just engage with my friends and stuff like that.
Okay. And because you're living at home, I guess this is maybe a question for Lakshmi as well. Is that challenging with parents in the same house, or like how I am with my kids, or is it completely different?
Yeah, I don't really like. I don't know. I don't really like talking too much to her. It's kind of in a bad way, like just because she bugs me a lot. She's always like, "Oh, do you need something? Do you need water?" I'm like, "No, I can do it myself." So it's
You're
like
the opposite.
the overbearing caringness, which I love because I understand she's my parent, but at the same time, it's like I know I can handle this stuff.
All right, Paul. What about you? What's your biggest challenge? Let me know.
I think that initial, I'm not the most social outside the work environment. So being in this realizes maybe I should get more social elements in my life. But our team has been really good at keeping engagement open, even if it's just to say, hey, we actually had our boss on in a previous episode, Chris. So he's really pushed our team to, even just video chat out and chat with people, see how they're doing. So our team's been pretty good about that. It doesn't have to be all work conversation. Working from home was great for the first few weeks, but then I do like coming into the office. As you can see, this is my office, and I have been coming in actually quite a bit last times. For me, it still is a little bit easier to drive in. It is an empty place. You might see one or two people in here on a given day, if that. Being able to come in and have that break away from home has helped out considerably with just being kind of feeling like.
Okay, good. So the next question is, aside from work, what are you working on in terms of other projects in your life or yourself?
Mainly what I've been doing with my friend is that we set up sort of like this quote unquote like a jungle gym in the back because we can't gyms are closed, right? So I've been buying like we bought like pull-up bars, we're buying like this mini trampoline. We also bought tires from a farm out in Bolton. My friend actually wanted to get like this massive tractor tire, but I couldn't fit it in my car. We would need like a pickup truck for it, but we've been using that and just and even like a sledgehammer. So if you ever seen those those kind of videos. So we've been focused mainly just on maintaining my health because I find that with the gym it really helps. But unfortunately, we're not like California or Florida, like a warm place. So I can only take advantage of this for like 4 to 5 months. So that's basically my focus, and I'm hoping that I can get back to the gym just because I do enjoy just being active. So that's sort of the project I've been working on in that sense.
Oh, that's cool. What about you, Nicole? Anything?
I'll be honest. I used to actually do weekend walks. Yeah. And actually, I was fortunate to walk into Paul on my most recent walk. It's funny because I've been doing a weekend walk on Saturday and Sunday for several years since I moved back, and have never walked into anyone before. And of all the times I walk into a colleague, but it's something that I've actually been weaning off, and I should really be getting back into that, especially now. I think initially when the lockdown had started, that was something that I probably didn't want to be doing for fear of, I don't know, some sort of fine or just being frowned upon outside. So I've been doing something. I've been engaging a bit more on my creative side and painting a lot more actually with my time. And I'm at a point now where I'm not sure if you can see all these scrolls behind.
Oh my god, that's so fun.
Wow.
Filled with
Is that all the ones that's from since COVID started? All these?
No, they're just a collection of things. So like if I get really bored, so yesterday I decided to paint over a couple of drawings that are just sitting over there. I'm not going to be that person and bring them out, but the things that I'm working on are.
Be that person at the end. Do it at the end. Finish all the questions.
You might as well do it for the video. It's already.
Yeah, everybody wanted to see it.
Okay, maybe a couple, but
Do it while Lakshmi answer her question when we're getting it. Lakshmi, what about you?
Yeah, no, what I've been doing is like Yasik, I've been trying to find ways to keep healthy. So me and my friend will video call and then we'll do an online workout together.
Oh, nice.
Like we'll watch a YouTube video workout and we'll like do it together as if we're in the same like Orange Theory class or something. And I've also just been doing a lot of crosswords because I am so bad at crosswords. And so like I just bought a book and I've been slowly trying to figure out like why I'm bad at crosswords, and crosswords are just hard. And maybe they're not for me, but I'm trying. So
they're very hard.
Yeah.
You got what you got there? Something to show us?
Yeah, I've got 4 of them. Just leaves that I'm.
Oh my god, looks so real.
Yes.
How did you do this?
So great.
Plant.
Oh my god.
A leaf. I have fan palm. They're wet and they're taking a really long time to dry.
Individual stroke. It's like one little. That's so like wow.
I
love it.
They finally painted over them, but yeah, something. But it's funny you mentioned Orange Theory because that was something in a place I was going to before the lockdown, and then the lockdown really shut that off. But I miss that communal atmosphere because working out on your own or just doing exercises at home, it's not really motivating.
Yeah, exactly. That's why like me and my friend, like we have a video call, or like she'll meet me in my backyard and we'll throw on a video on my laptop and then like we'll both do the workout like together, but like apart.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about you?
funny enough. Sorry, I was gonna say I'm doing it at a park. Like I'm going to Birchmount Park today, like at 6 o'clock. So same thing. I can't do it just by myself. Like it's too hard.
Yeah,
you need that push, right? You need that push from your
100%.
like a peer pressure kind of thing. What about you, Paul? I know you're very busy with that work, so it probably takes up like 90% of your time. So what are you doing that 10%?
It's the COVID stuff that our team works on, and then on top of that, everything else still has to go forward with work. So that's been a lot, as well as as new technologies come out, our team tries to stay up to date with all of that. But on more of the personal side, it's reading a lot, a stack of books that I haven't been able to get around to. So now there's this time to, of course, like everyone, no one's admitted it, but Netflix. I mean,
Non-stop Netflix.
Watched it, caught up on series. And cooking a lot more at home. I think one of the I can go out and eat. I'm in a good area for that for takeout, but I've really taken the opportunity to do something that I've done before, and that's just cooking.
Well, by the judgment of what's running low on stock. So first was the toilet paper, and then it was yeast. So everybody's baking, and now it's all the bikes, all the scooters, all the kiddie swimming pools are all sold out. Like all sold out. Bikes.
Like it's a serious commodity now.
It's a serious problem.
Yeah. Even driving home, there's definitely fewer cars on the road. There's a few bike shops you pass on the way, and the lineups are massive. To get into the stop, and then the side streets I typically go down, there's bikes everywhere. You usually see bikes anyway, but so many more.
So if anyone knows how to build a bike, this is the time to do it.
Exactly.
Something else doing.
Yeah. Okay. The next question is, so where do you see GIS gonna be in 5 years from now? And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you gonna be staying in the industry, or you might explore something different? Who wants to go first? Paul?
Sure. I think what is happening now really shows the relevance of GIS for many in understanding that there's high-risk areas, applying things that I'm familiar with in demographics, to look at correlations to risks within communities. And it's not about paintbrushing a solution to everywhere beyond just looking for a vaccine, but when we talk about tracing and all these other things too, we hear the term flatten the curve, or just to get an understanding of where there's outbreaks and hotspots of COVID. Mapping, I think, has really become part of the forefront of that visualization. You see it in the media with the Johns Hopkins. You see what we've done. And I think that transcends to all other industries as well with that understanding. I also think that traditionally mapping we've looked at as a GIS tool. And the engagement is going far beyond that into other business elements like business intelligence. Start to understand that spatial is a benefit to their analysis and their workflows. So coming to Esri and looking at how we can provide more enhanced capabilities and functionality to what they already have. So I see GIS as an expansion to the whole world in many different ways. And even when we talk about, July 2nd, there's going to be a new tracing app. That's all spatial, whether you see the map or you don't. Those are all elements that work together. As for me, I love Esri Canada and Esri as the whole. So I can't see myself going anywhere else. I more look forward to the next step that Esri takes in taking mapping of the world on a much greater scale.
And do you think the whole, business continuity in combination with indoors, do you think that will actually be something that will take on by the companies because of the COVID, right? Because of this, they're going to be more inclined to look at their CAD, see how can put that into a GIS system, and see how we can segregate people so that they can track people where they are, and so on and so forth.
I think when we start going into the indoor element, I definitely think that there's real benefit to organizations being able to take your files, your CADs, and looking at where barriers exist, where there's risk for people. And we can even take it to the next level of airflow within an office and tracking, as you said, we are looking at that even within. It's not about tracking the person where they are, and about first helping people get from A to B. But if another viral or the COVID outbreak happens, being able to track and see where there has been individuals who have come in contact at that point in time, and being able to do that tracing that you do see done really well in countries like South Korea that have been able to mitigate the infection rate by really advanced tracing and tracking.
Okay, Lakshmi, what about you? What do you see yourself?
I'm still fairly new to the GIS industry, so I still have a lot to learn about all the different avenues and applications of GIS. One thing I'm more curious to explore is how GIS can be leveraged in areas where I did my undergraduate education, which would be like economics and biology. So hopefully in the next 5 years, I'll do more learning in terms of big data analysis and how that can all be leveraged in like economics and biology. So
economics, that's Paul. Really. Biology,
Yeah.
I don't know if we have an expert in that particular field, but economics for sure. You want to chat with Paul when you have a chance. Nicole?
Well, I mean, from graduating in GIS and right out of uni, starting with Esri Australia, I knew where I wanted to be. I knew who I wanted to work for. The GIS industry is very small. I mean, I don't know if that's mentioned enough or if that's common knowledge. I mean, for people in the GIS industry, they know that. But for people who are still learning, like my parents, it's nice to see, as Paul mentioned, things like what the Johns Hopkins has done, and it's really raised a lot more awareness. I mean, I keep getting messaged from people in my family about the commercials that they see on TV, and they go, hey, this is the company you work for, right? So, I mean, little small things like that, word of mouth. GIS is really having its moment to shine right now. But I've always known where I want to be. I want to at least honor 4 or 5 years put into studying GIS. So I'm not going anywhere. And even if I go somewhere not very far, I mean, the GIS industry, like I said, we're a tight-knit community all over the world. So it's a great place to be. There's most people that are in it are very passionate about what they do, even if they come from economics, biology, straight up GIS, geocomputational sciences. We all are pretty dorky and we like talking math. So I think I'm going to stick with these guys.
What about you? Yes, like yours is a bit, you're I guess marketing is one of the departments that's not really too much technical GIS focused, but what do you see in terms of, being with a company or being in the industry? Like, what do you see yourself 5 years?
Well, like, just to start it off with just some context, is that my background and my knowledge of GIS before I joined the company was probably zero, right? When I first heard about GIS, it's not a common term, right? It's a very, very niche term, but you see it on a daily basis. It's just not something that you can necessarily pinpoint as a field, right? But I feel like, especially when I've come in and I see the things that the company is doing and the potential it has a huge advantage to potentially turn it into a niche, which is a very small subset of the population actually knows about it, and you can take it to a much larger scale, just as you saw with the John Hopkins, right? Those billions, millions of hits, and people can see, like, I'm going to take some words out of Paul's mouth, but you can contextualize and visualize this data, and that's the best way to explain it in label or simple terms to the average person, right? A lot of people, when you see data, they can interpret it. But when you put it visually and you can map it, draw it, put it on a dashboard, people are going to understand that on a much more granular scale. They're gonna understand it better. And I think that's the most important thing. And then you can see how this can kind of sort, again, gonna take out Paul's mouth. He took some words. It's gonna transcend that. What, like he was taking some of that, but he said it before me, so I hope I'm not repeating it, but it sort of transcends into the average person's psyche, and they can better understand how they can use that from, simply planning an indoors, new community, or using this in an aspect to further advancements for displaying data for impoverished communities, or what can we do to help this? And there's just so much potential for it. So I think in the next 5 years, you're going to see it go from a very niche or sort of slowly getting known community to a much more larger important part, especially as we move into more a connected society. And for myself, hey, the company's been great to me. I have no complaints. I can't really comment because I don't know what the future holds, because I'll probably say I have the least experience in GIS compared to all of you guys, but I still appreciate the technology. I understand it. Fortunately as well, I would say I'm more of a technical marketer, because like I enjoy technical aspects for math. Yeah, like I enjoy that. Like I built my own computer actually on the side note. Like I do stuff like that. So I appreciate the technical aspects, and fingers crossed, we'll see what goes on in the future.
Good. Well, because humans are innately visual. So you can say a bunch of words, it means nothing, but then when you show them a map or pictures, like, oh, everything's starting to click.
Exactly. It's why like a GIF is so popular, right?
That's right, because you can just show more than one frame, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, you can show more than one layer in GIS, and you see all different layers together, and that tells a different story, right? So and also part of the reason why I'm doing these videos of GIS is try to push this content, hopefully to reach a bigger audience, to even get interested in, oh, what is the GIS thing that the girl keeps talking about? Let me find out more about it. It doesn't sound that difficult, and that's my whole point of this entire series of videos. So good, I love your answers.
The project that you're working on.
That's exactly the project I'm working on, aside from my regular work and keeping myself sane and away from my kids for like an hour. All right, so the next question is a multiple choice. Now this is meant to be a funny question, but don't take it too seriously. Okay. So the question is, do you think COVID is a way of Earth punishing us, B, a result of actions from humans and the planet just reacting to it, and C, an inevitable step that we must take, so that it's almost like a blessing in disguise? So, what do you think? A, B, or C?
I think I got a decent answer, but it's sort of like there's not one right answer because I think there's like multiple steps to it, right? You
Yeah.
have a historic reoccurrence, right? This virus, a pandemic, it's not like it's a new thing, right? Like Black Plague,
right.
Spanish flu, right? So you have that. It's a natural, in my opinion. It's a natural. It was gonna happen. It didn't have to be COVID, but
Right.
naturally a pandemic's always gonna occur, especially because of as time, history repeats itself. The term Spanish flu kind of
Right.
pandemic
100
to it.
years.
The second one would be just, I would say, natural selection in terms of a blessing in disguise, because naturally we were poised to go digital, right? So I think it just accelerated that shift between the older way to the newer way, right? So I think that opens the gateway for more possibilities. Not to say we won't go back at all to what we were. It just, we're seeing the benefits of what technology can bring now digitally, right?
So B and C is your answer. B plus C.
It's basically like, I would say it's all of them.
There's so many possibilities. I don't want to say that this was a necessary step, because the reality is that a lot of people died. I don't want to say this was necessary to happen or a catalyst for us to invoke some sort of change. I mean, yes, we've seen the wildlife that have returned, and we've seen carbon emissions decrease because of, people staying inside, and obviously a very big social shift and an ongoing shift that we are still seeing, at least here in Ontario in stage 2, being implemented. So, and it varies across the world. I don't even want to, it's something that we're learning, and I don't want to say it's necessary, but what's happening is very unfortunate, and it's something that we as humans are learning to adapt to, and it will be very interesting to see what next steps we take after this that will really make some permanent change. And not just, something that'll temporarily put a Band-Aid on what we've witnessed, so that maybe the next time this happens, which, inevitably something like this will happen again. History repeats itself, as Jacek, as we all know. It'll just be how we can collectively come together and make that change happen. And I'm sure GIS absolutely will play a part in that. If we don't visualize where things are happening, how are we going to be able to predict and better act next time?
Yeah, it's like any other natural disaster response, right? With flooding, with typhoons or hurricanes, we've come up with emergency response plans after each one to better our steps and processes, right? So hopefully this is one of those learning experience.
Yeah. So I don't want to say again like Earth is punishing us. No.
I felt honestly, I felt that's what it was at first. I was like, what is happening? We must have done something wrong for Earth to react this way. But then you started to learn the lessons.
Yeah. At least we can be thankful people are washing their hands now after they use the
Yes, that's right.
Like, that was a big problem, man. Like
Lakshmi, do you have anything? Or different answer, or the same?
No, kind of sort of the same.
Yeah.
Kind of sort of the same. To be honest, I haven't been thinking of COVID like this at all. I've just kind of been thinking of, for me, like a way to stay positive throughout all of this, as like all of the ways that like I can work on myself, or like how I can use my time better. So like, to be frank, I've not really thought about like, COVID that existentially. Can you say that word?
Maybe just me.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Anything to add?
Nature kind of, there's viruses in nature all the time, and unfortunately we have these jumps from animal to human. Well, we're all still in the animal species, but these jumps happen, and whether that is nature that does that or not, or as you said, option A, that is, attack on people from Earth or what? I don't know. Humans always try to prevail in the face of adversity and whatever that is. And whether it's a virus because the Earth is doing this or because, nature is trying to correct something because of the pollution or environmental impact, I don't know. But I know that a species, adversity, you can see where we handle it rather well. And people have band together, especially Canada, to ensure that those who are most at risk are protected by wearing masks and not going out. Even a lot of everyone here is probably safe, and if you caught COVID, probably wouldn't even have any effect, asymptomatic or very mild illness. But we do that for the benefit of the whole.
Good. So I heard a podcast from a neurosurgeon, and she said, what the two positive things that came out of COVID from a neuro perspective is that people with OCDs don't feel they're alienated because everybody is about cleaning their hands, hand sanitizing, those people no longer feel that they're the only ones that are doing that, like the germophobes, so to speak. And then the other group of people is those people who are antisocial, who don't like to hang out with people, who loves to stay at home and just work on their own project, because everybody now they don't feel they have to attend any social activity. So this is actually like everybody else is like me. So this is the new norm. So those are the positive things. Only there's always silver linings and there's always blessings, always lesson learned. And I think humans are really good at learning lessons and trying to figure out what to do next and how we can be better, right? All right. So the next question is one of those questions I hate and love at the same time, because every time I ask myself this question, it changes. Depends on where I am at, what am I doing, depends on what stage am I in my life. So I'm going to ask you guys the same question, but I'm sure there'll be different answers. So the question is, what is the meaning of life to you at this point, and do you feel like we need to find a purpose in life? I know it's a deep question. Anyone want to start with that one?
Someone else to
It's
go.
one of the deepest questions ever. And don't say 42 because we all saw that movie.
42?
You never saw? Okay, girl, you need to watch
No, I don't know.
A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So the ultimate answer to the question of anyone's question is 42.
I mean, I guess for me, kind of look at things and you think, just leaving this place a little better, or your mark on it a little bit better for the next generation than the one before, contribute to society in some manner, whether it's through your job or just helping people out through volunteer work, just helping in a positive mark when you leave. I think that's really the one thing you want to do, is your life was for something. And that one of the best parts about our job, I feel, and a lot of the clients that we get to work with, especially in some of the health areas and so on, is the things we do help them, the real heroes and so on, leverage our technology to make even better things to help their people. So that's one of the best parts about what I get to do. Is I'm by no means smart enough to solve these problems, but if I can present the things we do to these people who can really truly change the world, I think that's kind of the meaning of everything, is that we're empowering others to do even greater things. I know it's sappy, but
I know a little bit sappy for
and
you,
coming
Paul.
from me, I know everyone's like, really? From you, Paul? But I've come to that realization, and because I get a much greater joy on seeing how people have leveraged, not just our technology, but just anything that we do, and make it even better. And then those people make it even better. And I think that's the best part.
Kind of like a heart, right? I feel like I have that bubble heart for you when you say that. Like, da.
Alice and Nicole, who I talk to often, are probably like, that is not Paul.
Well, it reminds me, actually, and I don't know if Paul, I've chatted with you about this before, but it reminds me of, I'm sure everyone has seen this movie, I've heard of it, Up in the Air. One of my favorite quotes from the movie. Ryan Bingham, he's a traveling salesman, if I'm to really simplify it, and he is consoling his brother-in-law who is on the fence, well, brother-in-law to be, who's on the fence about getting married, and he's consoling him, and he lets him know, or he asks him, great question, he says, you know, when you really think about it, the best moments in your life, the happiest memories that you have were you alone. And if you really think about it, you generally weren't. I mean, no one is ever alone. Your happiest memories come from the connections that you make, whether it's you're consoling someone in that similar manner, whether you're teaching someone to ride a bike, whether you're being taught to ride a bike, something, just throwing things to the top of my head. But no, your best memories are with other people and the connections. It's so sappy, but you know, just to add to that, it's really in the relationships that we have in life. I know that doesn't answer the question, but at least
until you have kids, my happiest moment is when I lock myself in the bathroom with no fingers coming through the bottom of the freaking door. That's my happiest moment.
Maybe it's not for you.
But it's only short time. But yes, you're right. Yes, the happiest moments were, you know, those moments, like teaching my kids new things, or they're so happy about, or you know,
or just being with kids,
or just being with me, yeah, or just being with me, or being with friends. I have a lot of really good memories with friends as well.
Yeah.
So I have two quotes that I want to share with you. They're my favorite quotes of that sort of explains the life and meaning. And I, you know, to be honest, I haven't figured out because it changes. It depends on where I'm at in my life, you know, where I want to be. So the answer changes. But these two quotes kind of resonated with me. So I'm gonna use these for now until I find better ones. Okay. So the first one is, the meaning of life is to give life meaning, which I absolutely love. And I feel like you shouldn't be, it's not something that you search and you find under a rock or anything. You should be able to create meaning for life, so that you can, whatever project you're working on, whatever you're passionate about, you can, which is what I love. The second quote is from that says, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away, which is kind of what Paul was saying about finding your gift and actually be able to contribute that back to the society, back to the community, and help other people, right? I know it sounds really sappy. So the very last question I have is actually from my daughter. She always asks me this. My 7.5-year-old, not the 2.5. 2.5 just she doesn't ask questions. She just tells me what to do. Okay, so the last question is, why? What she's trying to say is, why do we have to have a reason for doing something?
We don't need a reason to do something if you feel like that's the right thing to do.
I was gonna say,
There's many things in my life I don't have a reason why I did it.
Yeah.
You just do it.
No, there's no reason.
And kind of, sorry, going back to, you know, as I was saying, like being alone, like the best stories never start with I was alone. And I don't think the best stories ever start, well, I had a reason to do this. It's just I think sometimes it's the randomness.
quoting the movie. Good job.
Sorry?
You were quoting the movie. You've seen it.
Yeah. But I think that like, some of the best things are the randomness. I think we live so structured a lot of the times in work, even in life. It's sometimes nice to have planned unreasonedness, whatever the word is. I know that's not right.
Spontaneous.
It's a Michael Scott word. I had to throw one office kind of innuendo in. Made up by Michael Scott. But I think that's the excitement of life. Sometimes you don't have a reason for doing certain things. You just do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. Like all of like the best memories that I have with like hanging out with friends and family is us just not really thinking about what we were doing, but just like living and not thinking about it, or being like, we need to do this because of XYZ. It was more like, hey, this looks fun, let's just try.
Yeah. And I think it reverts us back to our childhood state, because I'm sure, as you know, with kids, you know, when you're asking, why did you do this? There is no reason why.
Yeah, so, let me give you some context. Give you some context why she asked this question. Let's say I always ask her to do something, and she's like, why, mommy? Why don't I do this? I'm like, well, because otherwise, you eat food off the floor, you get sick. That's why you don't put food in your mouth if it's been on the floor for more than a second.
Oh, okay. That's different.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Or
Changes.
why do I have to do this first, but then not do this? Because if you watch technology first, your brain is gonna melt and you can't do math. So you do your math work first. You do the hard stuff first. Then when it comes to enjoy it, you can watch our YouTube videos or whatnot.
Do you
But before
actually
that,
tell her that her brain is gonna melt? That is amazing. That is incredible.
But you're talking to somebody who also said that daughter would not like chocolate to keep her away from it, and so.
But see, okay, the reason why I say that is after she watched, let's say, 2 hours of Netflix or YouTube, she is a mush. She be like she's zoned out. She's very zoned out. She can't. It's almost like too much stimulation to the brain and not enough thinking on her own. She can't think. She can't even do simple, multiplication. I'm like, girl, where are your memories? What are those numbers I asked you to memorize? She's like a zombie, right? And I'm like, sorry, honey, this is the rules. She's about why, mommy? Why you have to make so many rules? I'm like, I'm sorry. Until you're adult, this is the rule. Okay. And yes, the reason why is because I had to explain the reason why I'm doing this. It's because for the benefit of her health. It's because when you watch technology, it's high dopamine hits that your brain is so used to that standard, a high level of hits. So when you're doing some work like low dopamine stuff, like reading a book or doing chores, your brain is no longer satisfied. That's why, and technology, including social media and even news, anything that's technology, because it's screen, it's so reactive. So the dopamine hit is really high, so that your brain gets used to that level, and so you should leave that usually at the end of the day, not in the beginning of the day, right? So all right, so that's all my questions. Now it's your turn. Do you guys have any questions for me?
My only question is, when can I get up to get some water? That's my.
You can do it now.
I'm
edit this part out.
I'm very thirsty.
Thank you guys so much for participating. This has been really fun just to see you guys. Thank you for being candid about answering these tough questions. The reason why I'm asking is because I've been thinking of these questions myself during this whole COVID. Maybe I'm just one of those people that just, from the stuff that I read and the stuff that I'm going through. So I'm just wondering, if are any other people going through the same process, or asking themselves the same questions. So I would like to thank you, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank you. It was great to be a part of, and it was great to hear your perspectives on things as well, friends. So yeah, this was fun.
Well, I appreciated your comment on optimism and just staying positive, Lakshmi, because we don't have answers for everything, but at least we can keep on smiling and keep on going.
Yeah. No, one thing I was going to say is to your whole comment on dopamine, Alice, one thing I've started to do is I sometimes do a silent Saturdays or silent Sundays. So I literally will turn off my entire cell phone.
Yeah, detox.
So if you you cannot contact me. There is no way to get a hold of me unless you call my landline at my parents' place.
Wow.
So I turn off the office computer, I turn off my cell phone. It's a full day of maybe 1 hour of Netflix if I'm cleaning, but that's it. Nice. No technology. Yeah. And it's honestly so great. It's so fun. I've read so many books. I've done all these things that I always told myself I've never had time to do. So I recommend it for anyone that is too connected.
Yes.
Great idea.
Good advice. All right. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for my panelists for participating. You'll find this video on Ask Anything series. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
There you have it. That's all 3 groups answering the same questions on the biggest questions or toughest questions during COVID. I hope you enjoyed this series. If you like this video, please hit the share button or like button and subscribe for more GIS content. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.